It was not a smart move to take that ball first in an overtime of the Super Bowl. And that's how we're going to end today's show here, Larry. Bill Belichick's numbers guru, Ernie Adams, was on Julian Edelman's podcast. And Ernie does not talk much.
No, he never talks.
This guy is, Bill Belichick's, Mr. Numbers Fixer, basically. He is the
this is the brains behind this is the the guy in the back room crunching numbers. This is the Paul DePodesta to Billy Beane.
He is the Farhan of no, I'm just kidding. So talking about the 49ers electing to take the kickoff in overtime of the Super Bowl, he tells Edelman, this is Ernie Adams, Bill Belichick's numbers guy. The text I sent Bill right then is this is the first time in National Football League history where the right call for the winning the coin toss is we want to kick. We want to kick. We want to go on defense first. The big reason is you need and you know that you're in 4-down territory all the way, because if it comes up to 4th down and you're going for it, it affects how you call 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down. If it's never a punting situation, your entire game plan is going to unfold differently.
This whole thing that came up the Super Bowl that was just played, and I have been waiting for this situation for 3 years. Somebody, when they changed the rule on overtime, this is totally different. And to be honest with you, 49ers win the toss. And my text, I sent to Bill right then. I said, this is the first time in the National Football League history, the right call on winning the coin toss is we want to kick. We want to kick. We want to go on defense first. And the big reason, you know what you need, and you know when you're in 4-down territory all the way, because it comes up 4th down, you can go for it. Well, if you know you're going to be going for it on 4th down, that changes the way you can call the game on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down. I mean, yes, Kyle Shanahan said, okay, if it comes to a 3rd possession, we kick a field goal, you kick a field goal, I get the ball the 3rd time, then I can win it with a field goal. I'd rather have the ball 2nd, so I know, I know what I need.
These are all the things that we said immediately following the Super Bowl. All of these points are points that Shanahan tried to imagine weren't as important as that magical 3rd possession should both teams trade equal scores. And he's right. Again, look, he's right. We saw it in real time. He's had a little time to talk about it, think about it, and he goes on Edelman's podcast and just said, Kyle can defend his position all he wants. He was wrong. And history proved him wrong. So there you go. Well, if you wanted us to bash Kyle Shanahan, congratulations. We did.
I don't know if history, it didn't work out. Like, you can make the wrong call and win the game. You can make the right call and lose the game.
Right.
He made the wrong call and lost the game.
My whole point is Kyle is so committed to the fact that he did it the right way. I promise you, if they're in the the overtime of the next Super Bowl, he'll be kicking. I promise you he wouldn't play it the same way, knowing what he knows now.
I know. No, I don't think there's any real defense of it. Now, I understand what Kyle was saying, but the same thing that Kyle was, the argument, it's like this. It reminds me of high school math. You got the right answer, Larry, but you didn't show your work.
Didn't prove it.
You got to show your work. If you don't show your work, it's not just okay to get the right answer. You have to get the right answer with the right process. The right process was if Kyle had said, hey, my defense was gassed, I didn't want to put them out there right then, that's a defensible position for why he did what he did. But that's not what he said.
Right.
He said, we wanted to have it 3rd. And it's like, it was obvious. We have video footage of Juszczyk and Armstead going, I didn't know that rule. We didn't talk about that. So that's the incriminating part. And then, of course, that also came back on him 24 hours later, where Juice said, I didn't know anything about it. The next day, he was like, well, we knew. We had discussed it, this and that. You know what I mean? So obviously there was the cover-up. But yeah,
Right. And then you had Andy Reid working on it on training camp. They were talking about it in training camp, the new overtime rule that would apply to the Super Bowl. So
Dave Taub, who's maybe the best special team coach in the last 20 years, was saying, guys, to his guys, the Chief players, we got what we wanted. We lost the coin toss, but we got what we wanted. That's it right there. The question is, we wanted to know we could win it. Well, you could win it with a 2-point conversion, even if, so the assumption, it's like it kind of gives us a glimpse into the Niners' view of 2-point conversions also, right? Like they view 2-point conversions as like, very unlikely. We're not going to try it. Like they're going to go score a touchdown. Then, or we're going to go score a touchdown. Then they're going to go score a touchdown. We're going to kick a PAT. Then they're going to kick a PAT. And then we are going to get the ball. But I mean, there's 5 different things that can interrupt that.
Right.
And it was illogical. And unfortunately, they lost the game, but you're right. They had the wrong approach. And this one was incriminating. And this, and this is the thing for Kyle. I love Kyle. I think Kyle, I'm more of a fan of Kyle than most of these 49er content creators. They think he's an idiot. I don't think he's an idiot. I think if the Niners fired him tomorrow, there'd be like 7 teams around the league that would seriously have emergency meetings. Should we fire our guy and go for Kyle? There'd be like 3 different college coaches that would get dumped. Should we fire our head coach and go for Kyle? So this like Kyle's a bonehead. Kyle doesn't know. No, stop. You're an idiot for saying it. He's a good coach, but you can make a very compelling argument that he is starting to have a series of times where he's shooting himself in the foot under pressure in big games. And it's got to end. It's got to end. Now, I don't know how it's going to end, but it's got to end. And I understand where people are coming from. I still think you're talking about, let's not forget what you had. You had Chip Kelly. You had Tom Sula. Kyle's offense produces roughly 30 points a game. He's gone to the Super Bowl with Brock Purdy and Jimmy Garoppolo. I think Brock Purdy's really good, but I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is very good. And he went to the Super Bowl with both of them and almost won. So, this Kyle's no good. Kyle doesn't know. I'm in that room looking at these players face to face every week. If there were an inkling of, you know what, we don't believe, I would know about it. I would sense it. Somebody would whisper something in the corner of the room. It's like Bill Parcells when he spoke and he talked about the locker room and how, there's dark corners of the room and there's doubt and there's people, there's distrust and there's all kinds of darkness in the locker room.
The whisper campaign would have reached us if there were an internal whisper campaign about him not being the right guy.
These guys believe in Kyle Shanahan at a degree that I don't think the fans or the media really grasp. The players are all in on Kyle Shanahan, all in, not part way in, all in. So there you go. That's my thought. I think Shanahan, but I do understand the frustration of the people that rip him because they're like, man, this guy can't get it done. And man, the Atlanta game, some of the questioning, some of the calls, and the Debo touches the ball twice in the second half. After he was like the MVP of Super Bowl 54 in the first half, he was the betting favorite to win the MVP at halftime. He touched the ball twice in the second half. That's I can't get beyond that. And then this last game, with this rule, and with the way the handling of this, and also not just the handling of this, I thought on the 3rd and 4, it demanded them to run on third and 4 and maybe get it. And if you don't get it, you run again on 4th down and keep the ball out of Mahomes' hands. You know what I mean? At the end of regulation, I would have liked to have seen that. And I just didn't feel like they understood or really had a great plan there. So, the inability to call the the challenge on Devontae Smith's reception in the Eagle game. I'm not going to question the Tyler Kroft block because I don't think that's valid. But you had multiple indications, Damon. You had a Fonga going, saying incomplete. You had, Jalen Hurts in the Philly offense sprinting up the field.
Run the next play.
Run the play. And Kyle didn't call the challenge just because it was too early in the game in his mind. It was vital. It was a vital mistake. So, I'm willing, to say, hey, you know what? He's a really good coach who's made some bad decisions in some big games, but I really believe that Shanahan is easily the best coach the 49ers could have today. Like, if they fired him today, I don't think they could get a coach anywhere close to as good as he is. Do you?
Bill Belichick. He's out there, so you go get that guy. But that would be it. I mean, that would, in order to do better than Kyle, you have to have the guy who's got the most robust trophy case in the history of coaching football. So, look, anyone who wants to make an argument or plant their entire career in the flag that is Kyle's not good at this is just showing what you don't know about the team that you claim to be covering closely. It's a blind spot. I mean, you think Kyle's got a blind spot? You can't even recognize a good coach that you cover. That's pretty much a blind spot too.
I would love it if he had a Brad Seeley, because, now Jim Harbaugh lost his ass on the sidelines in many games and got so overwhelmed with emotion that he really almost had to waste timeouts. And, Harbaugh did not keep it together on the sidelines, but he did have Brad Seeley. And Seeley is a respected guy who knows every rule, special teams, great coach, but a phenomenal, kind of sideline confidant, bench coach. I mean, I don't look at it as an insult. I mean, Joe Torre had Don Zimmer. Baseball managers know the game cold, but they still really, really, really value their bench coach.
Right. Bochy had Wotus and Flannery.
Right. And a bench coach can be, there's Kyle wears a lot of hats, man. He's the offensive coordinator. He's the head coach. He's dabbling in, on the defensive headsets and questioning that. He's involved in personnel and all these different things.
He's the general manager.
He's the final word on everything. And it's like, all I would say is maybe a really high quality bench coach. And maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of odd to say it, but maybe the guy from the Chargers who went for it all the time on fourth down.
Maybe Brandon Staley is that guy. Maybe he's better suited to be the consigliere more than he is the Godfather.
Maybe. I mean, I'm eager to see what assistant head coach role. What's his role? What does he do?
What does that mean? We still don't know exactly what that means, and we won't until we get into the season.
And is it dual defensive coordinators? No. You're going to give Sorensen the final say. So is he going to question Sorensen? I doubt it. Is he just going to be on the headsets there, kind of, listening in? I don't know. It'll be interesting if the Niners are going for it on fourth down, left and right, all because of Brandon Staley.